All right, welcome back, AP Psych class. This is kind of piggybacking off of our last screencast, the sleep. So, main thing we're looking at today is dream theories and the sleep disorders, and this will pretty much finish it up for sleep. So, when we look dreams themselves, we kind of talked about this last, but the majority of the dreams you remember happen in REM sleep. There is some newer information out there that think we may dream throughout the whole night. The reason why you wouldn't say remember your dreams from stage 4, stage 3, stage 2 to stage 1 is really because your brain wouldn't be as active like it is in REM. So potentially you do dream, but we're not going to remember it because our brain's not as active. So why do we dream? It's just because your brain is active. That's all it is. And your brain being active, it has to interpret it. Just like, say, a schizophrenic who hallucinates, the reason they're hallucinating is because their brain is active. So if the brain's active, we have to interpret it. And so the interpretation becomes your dreams. Some of them are normal, some of them are very outlandish, some of them we think may predict the future, which is very debatable. But obviously, since it happens, it has to serve some form of purpose. So why, or what the purpose is, depending on the psychologist, you'd get a different answer. But most likely, they're going to serve a multitude of purposes. And then we'll start with theories next. So first theory, Sigmund Freud. He's the first to create a dream theory. His is also very popular among people who are trying to understand them. These are usually people who think there's some type of hidden meaning behind them, which there could be. We're not sure of that yet. But Freud argues that with the wish fulfillment, you get to act out unacceptable urges in your dream. So, like if you've ever had a dream where you've hurt somebody and you wake up and you don't feel that bad about it, what Freud would say is that's the psychic safety valve. You can't hurt the person in real life because you'll get in trouble, so you do it out in your dreams. According to two types of content we're looking at with Freud, manifest content, that's just basically what you see. So what you see is what you get with this. If I see I'm running through a grassy field, then the grassy field is the manifest content. The latent content, which is the underlying meaning of the dream, this is going to have to be interpreted by a psychologist familiar with Freud's theory. So the idea would be here, you either go to the psychologist and tell them about your dream, and then they would try to interpret it, or you could actually look at his book on dreams and it would give you potential meanings behind all the symbols. So for example, if I see a clock, the manifest content is the clock itself, but the meaning could be that I'm afraid of death or I'm running out of time to get things done in my life. Now again, notice the could be. That's the potential. If you actually find a dream, there's a site called Dream Moods out there. If you look up a clock, it's actually going to have about 5 or 6 different meanings for it. So they would also have to take into account what's going on in your life. So second theory, and these theories are the more looked at and more researched today. So this is going to be the information process theory. So dreams are going to help sift and sort and fix a day's experience into your memories. So like if you have a day where you go to sleep and you dream about what happened during that day, the psychologists are going to note that the hippocampus is active during those dream states. And so really what this dream, the purpose it's serving, is to sort out and sift through the unanswered questions throughout the day. It's kind of like if you would try to do a brain teaser or some type of puzzle before you go to bed, and you don't finish it, you're likely to dream about finishing that puzzle. Physiological function. So here we're looking at the dreams actually serving a purpose in helping preserve our pathways and our brain itself. So when we look at this theory, so this is going to work similar to the use it or lose it phenomenon. So if, for example, we would sleep for 8 hours straight and our brain would not go into beta wave function again. The theory here would be your brain cells or your neural pathways would start to die off. Activation synthesis theory. This is just really trying to understand the randomness of dreams. So dreams are the brain's way of making sense of random neural activity. So since it's random neural activity, it's not necessarily exactly the same as your waking beta activity. So the dreams become very random. So this would be the dreams that make no sense to us, are weird, strange, and crazy. That's just going to be the activation synthesis. There's nothing behind that dream. It's just your brain's way of interpreting that neural activity at that point. And then the cognitive development. Here we're going to argue that dreaming is a part of maturation and brain development. So if you would think and try to remember your dreams, the dreams that really start to stand out are probably some of the dreams we have as we're growing up. As you get older and become an adult, you will remember less dreams. So the idea here is we have a better ability to remember dreams in childhood and teens because our brain is still developing. Whereas once we get to 25 and 30, your brain is not developing very rapidly. And in some cases, it's actually decreasing in size every decade. So that's the reason why kids would remember more dreams than the adults. But again, you could look at a dream and it could serve 3 or 4 of these theories. Now, obviously, the second, third, fourth, and fifth are the ones we look at more today, but Freud's dream theory is important. So second part of this, sleep disorders. Just looking over the common sleep disorders, the main thing would be what are the symptoms. So insomnia, you either have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. And this is the most common sleep disorder. Somnambulism or sleepwalking. AP will use that word somnambulism. I guess it's too easy to use the word sleepwalking, but whatever. So sleepwalking caused by sleep deprivation or varying sleep schedules, and this occurs during stage 4 sleep. And it influences children more than adults. Why? Probably because they need more sleep, or that children will spend more time in sleep. And it could be the body's just waking up, becoming active. And sleep talking is also another aspect of this. And the main reason why adults do not affect it doesn't affect adults as much, it's because adults don't spend as much time in non-REM stage 3 and stage 4 sleep. Night terrors, these are not dreams, and these only affect children, usually toddlers. It's a sudden arousal from sleep with intense fear accompanied by physiological reactions, rapid heart rate, screaming, kicking, perspiration. And these are not dreams because they occur in stage 4. Now these, we have no clue why these are happening. The really ongoing theory here would be the child is spending so much time in this non-REM stage 3, stage 4 sleep, the deepest sleep, that the body actually panics. The heart rate slowed, the respiration rate slowed, blood pressure's lower during sleep. So it's almost like the body will panic during that stage. But again, that's just a theory. And then narcolepsy, overpowering urge to fall asleep. So they could be talking, they could be standing up, they could be driving, they could be carrying out any number of activities and just fall asleep for a few minutes. And it's almost like they pass out. But really what it is, it's a sleep attack. Why does it happen? Sleep deprivation. So we suddenly fall into REM sleep. And the more times this happens, this disrupts that normal sleep pattern. So we're more likely to engage in it again. And what we figured is there's low levels of hypocretin, a neurotransmitter that regulates REM sleep, is a strong possibility of the cause. And they give you these high potent stimulants to try to keep you awake. And even in some cases, those stimulants, they're not that chemically different from like a methamphetamine, but in some cases, that medical meth essentially is not affecting this whatsoever. And then stage 5, sleep apnea, the most detrimental, loud snoring, choking sensation. So the patient will actually stop breathing for brief periods of time and multiple times during the night. If untreated, those apnea attacks last longer and longer. And the longer the apnea attack, the longer there is no oxygen hitting the brain and the body. Like it'll start out maybe only 20 seconds, but some people will, advanced cases will be interrupted 50, 60 times a night with this loud snoring, choking sensation, and that stopping of breathing, which will eventually get up to minute-long attacks. Associated with, obviously, obesity, which is a problem in America at this point, which I think it's getting better, but if you hear someone loud snoring, they're most likely influencing or being affected by sleep apnea. And so that's for sleep disorders. If you want to see any videos on them, let me know, and I can find them and post them.